Hello, today we're doing my makeup with my Seint palette. I'm gonna essentially show you just my base and what I do every single time I do my makeup. Now that I've had my Seint makeup for several months, I've had ample opportunity to kind of play with it and tinker and figure out like what shades and application technique and blending methods work best for me and my skin type. So that's what I'm gonna show you today. I have made a couple of other videos on Seint, one of which was about the skincare benefits, which I will put here or here, I'm not sure. And the other was like a first impression, and it was like me doing my makeup, I think for the second time with my Seint products that I had only recently received. So a little bit has changed since then. I'm way better at it. I've got a like way more flawless application, I think, but I stand by that. I really enjoy the products. I think everything is very skin-like. It's like on my skin right now. So if you want to follow along with me and see how I got my base to look the way that it does and very like, you know, just skin-like and natural and pretty, then hang around, keep watching, and that's what we're doing today. Okay, let's go. I'm ultra close today, so you can see everything that I'm doing. And I'm not sure if I mentioned in the intro, but I'm being a little bit quiet because I have an infant sleeping like just on the other side of this door. This is my bathroom. You see I have like a mirror set up. Very glamorous. I'm on my phone again because that is like the simplest thing to set up. Like when I have time when she's sleeping, that's what we do. So, okay, let's get going. So I'm assuming in the intro, I already told you what I was doing. Obviously I haven't filmed that yet because my face is not ready. And the other thing is that I don't know all the shade names, but I have expanded my palette. There you be. I have expanded this palette quite a bit since like the very first video that I made. So I'm not exactly sure what all my colors are here. I think this is Sunlit, Candlelit. These two are like either June or Amber. I'm not really sure, but what I will do is like list in the description box basically my colors in order. It doesn't really matter what my colors are. It really just matters what your colors are if you're like, you know, considering trying this makeup for the first time or considering investing in it, whatever. Investing is a terrible word to describe anything that you buy, but I said it, whatever. You can't invest in makeup. Anyway, so let's just get going. So I have this like dirty little brush that I use to just get the color on my face. And the technique that I have been using, I was using my fingers for a minute, but I don't like to do that because I don't love to have like dirty fingers when I'm done with my makeup. So I essentially put everything on my face in one layer, and by doing so, by putting everything on my face first, I kind of allow it to warm to my skin before I go and blend out, and that really just gives it a nice, beautiful blend. And that's true of any cream makeup. That's like not just this cream makeup. But this is what I am using and have been loving. So here we go. I tend to start with my lightest colors when I'm using the same brush for application, and it's like ultra dirty. It needs to be washed. In fact, today I'm going to be using only one or two Seint brushes, and the rest are just like other brushes from my collection. And if I'm being totally honest, it's because I need to wash my brushes, and I especially need to wash my Seint brushes, and I just I prioritize a lot of other things over washing my brushes, don't we all? Anyway, I'm gonna go in with my lightest highlight, my most yellow highlight, and I just like to put that. And you're gonna see me like looking over here. That's because that's where my actual mirror is. And so I am doing my makeup in natural light in front of a window on my iPhone, and I have an iPhone 13 Pro Max. Is that what this is? I think so. And you're on the front facing camera, so I think the picture is not quite as good as if I were on the back facing. but it's still, I mean, it's still quite good. I think you get a very realistic depiction of the makeup. So, okay, I just go in and like literally brighten my dark areas with this yellow shade, and I don't worry too much about blending it out initially because the blend is going to come in a minute. And I don't also worry about getting right up underneath my eye because first of all, I can blend it there, and then second of all, I usually do a little touch of eyeshadow under my eyes, so you just don't have to get that close to your eye. Okay, and then next, I kind of mix up the shades that I use, but I'm feeling like today, I have some like, you know, pigmentation. My face gets like ultra pigmented in the summer, so I just kind of like figure out which shade I want to use kind of like in real time. And I kind of match the shade to the area of my face. Like I don't do like one shade all over. And I think that's kind of like the beauty of this, is that you can see like this shade that I just laid down is a very good match for like that part of my face, but it wouldn't necessarily be a good match for the skin above it because there's more hyperpigmentation there. So obviously I need something a little bit darker to cancel that out, but this is a good shade for other areas, which I'm going to lay down now. So you can see that there's quite a lot of coverage. You really don't need a lot of this product. And all these shades are yellow based, so they give you kind of that like lit from within vibe. Okay, I'm gonna touch something a little bit darker to go around, because I tend to be a touch darker at my hairline, and I'm a little darker on my nose, and there you can see that's quite a bit darker there to cover my hyperpigmentation. Okay, and then also I'll do, most people are a little darker along their jawline. Not everyone, but some people. But everyone has different shades in different parts of their face, so you can't be afraid with this makeup to go in with different shades. But when you get your like starter kit, you're only gonna have a couple of highlight shades, and then you're gonna have like probably a contour. Maybe it just depends how you set up your colors, but having a couple of colors is smart because it's just gonna go on more skin-like. And then last thing is I'm gonna go in with my contour color, and because there's so many lighter colors on this, we're really just kind of blending that in with the colors that are already there. And I'm gonna go on my jawline as well. So it kind of tones down the contour, if that makes sense. And I have some darkness here, and I like to use that to my advantage and add a contour shade there as well. And so there's no one way to do this makeup. You just do it to like what suits your skin tone. I hate when your makeup ends and your hairline is like stark white. I hate it. So I usually go back into my hairline a little bit with one of the colors. And then I may just add a touch of contour there, but nothing dramatic. I really don't want a heavily contoured look today. I'm really just striving for healthy looking skin. And I am gonna go in with a touch of bronzer. I've been feeling a little bit of bronzer lately. So the brush I'm gonna use to blend everything out, and I'll just like zoom in. You can really see the color on my face. I don't have color everywhere. I just have color in some areas. that I need it. And I think this is like a really good representation of like what this looks like when it's on your face before you have blended it out. So you can see the color is sitting on the skin. It's unblended, but it is kind of like melting into the skin. So this brush that I'm going to be using to blend this is a Real Techniques brush. This is the Expert Face Brush. And I really like to use this brush for cream brushes, but I also find that it works great for stippling this product out. And depending on the amount of coverage that you want, you can move it around with a bigger brush. Like a lot of people use, this is the Seint brush. I don't know what brush this is, but this is one of the Seint brushes, and a lot of people love to use this to move their color around, or they like to use this to move their color around or to blend everything in, but I prefer to keep everything kind of like where I have laid it. So I use a denser stippling brush, and I always start with the lightest shades. And I'm not getting crazy here. It's okay if shades that you've laid down blend together, because they're like adjacent on the face, and so that would be like the most realistic way to approach it, is that adjacent shades blend together. So I'll just start there. For right now, I'm going to avoid this darker area. I'm going to go in and do that last, and I'm going to go up and just move into the lighter areas and kind of like work my way up my face, if that makes sense. And I do take this same brush right up under the eye. I feel like, should I scoot in a little bit? I'm trying to be as like transparent as possible in how this makeup goes on, because to buy a full face of it is not a cheap thing to do. It's like a lot less expensive than buying a full face of things at like Sephora, but less so than, or more so than if you were going to buy a full face of different makeup at the drugstore. And because it's like one brand and you kind of like approach it from like, you know, base and contour and blush and all that stuff, I think it's important that you have like a very transparent understanding of how everything goes on. Sorry, I'm not very good at doing things and talking at the same time. So, okay, some forehead lines here, so you can kind of see how that doesn't settle into my forehead lines necessarily, but it does, you know, like any product that has a sheen to it, it's gonna like possibly accentuate that a little bit. Okay, so now that I have the lighter areas done, I'm gonna go in and just kind of stipple at the areas where I've laid down my darkest colors on my contour. I have little tiny baby hairs over here. I'm at that point in postpartum where I'm gonna start like losing my hair. I'm 2 months postpartum, and I just know that that's coming. I know that's in my future. I'm gonna hit my jawline here and blend this just down the neck slightly. And I'm gonna go back and, I always hit the jawline with a touch of bronzer. I don't know why. I think it's just the most natural. And when I get tan in the sun, my jaw tends to get some color just simply because it like juts out, and that's what the sun hits. So I like to do, when I use my bronzer, I like to use it in such a fashion that it appears as though the sun would have done it. I think that's kind of like, you know, the goal, but like some people on YouTube be using bronzer like other ways. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go in and tap out what I laid down on my eye. It doesn't have to be perfect. The goal here is that it looks natural and skin-like. I mean, I assume that's everyone's goal with their makeup. So I am noticing right off the bat that I need some, I do want to like darken into my hairline a little bit in some places. This is just me. This is just my personal preference. And a lot of times I'll go in with a one of those sprays, like the Root Touch-Up spray, and go around my hairline as well. Or I'll take like a darker colored shadow and go into my hairline. Or just for the spots in my hairline that are like ultra white, I like to just like blend it back a little bit so it's not so dramatic. Okay, that's done. So the next thing that I am probably gonna do is go in with just a touch more contour, and I'm gonna just hit the sides of the nose. See how I have like natural shadowing here? So I want to emphasize that, but also like use it to create the line for my nose contour, because that's gonna like look the most natural, is like following the features that you already have on your face. And I can't make my nose too much more slender looking, just because it's like more round at the tip, and the way the light catches it, it's just not, I mean, I can try and like come down on it, but you see like the way the light catches it, it just does not. The light catches it like wider than where I placed the contour, so it just doesn't look very believable if I try to make like an ultra skinny nose. But anyway, there's that. And then I bring this contour back. See how it kind of like, it's like one line, which looks very strange right at this moment. But like once everything is blended, it won't look as strange. And then I do just go in and create some shadowing. To try and create that lip vibe. Oh no, I hear the baby. Okay, so I'm gonna do my nose contour here. And like normally this is like a 1-layer makeup or whatever, so it's, a lot of people do their contour at the same time, but I just feel like I need that coverage on my nose before I can go in and do any type of contouring. So it's subtle, but it's there. And then I think I would like to go in with a touch more of my lightest highlight color, this guy right here, and I'm on just like a little detail brush, and I'm gonna tuck that up in here for a little extra boost of brightening. I probably will not edit this video too dramatically. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna go in and take out the pauses or anything like that, because did some brightening right there, just because I have talked through this whole thing and I don't want you to lose any of the like commentary as I'm doing this, you know, because I like watching people do this kind of in real time, so to speak, is how, you know, you learn to do it. So same brush, I'm gonna take and just pat that up into the corner of the eye and then out and around. And if you need to get really in there, you can take a detail brush and blend it, or you can just take your finger, and the warmth of your finger really helps to move it around as well, or to diffuse it. Okay, so there's that. And I am going to, somewhere I have powder. Yeah, I'm gonna go in, and this is the Seint, the vanilla dusting powder, and I'm going to just go in on a Real Techniques setting brush and only set just under the eye. You can set obviously anywhere that you feel like needs to be, because see how that kind of like diffuses the reflection, which is going to minimize the appearance of any hollows under the eye. And then because I'm going to use powdered eyeshadow today, I'm also going to set the lid with just a very small, I mean, you see I get some on my brush and then tap, tap, tap. Because I just don't want a heavy powdery look. I might just tap some right there. And that's about it. And then the last two things I'm going to do with the Seint application in particular is I'm going to take this Seint brush. I don't know what this is called. And I'm going to use this big fluffy side, and I'm going to go into this bronzer color over here, which I think is Bella, and just tap, tap, tap. And you can see it doesn't look like there's very much on here, but when you tap the face, you can really see there's like a lot of payoff with that. It's pigmented just like all these colors are. And then blend that up into the hairline. Same thing, tap, tap, tap. I barely got any on my brush. I mean, I cannot emphasize there's barely any product on my brush. And I'm just gonna deepen this side a little bit. And I think the biggest thing is that the contour color here, which is olive, it's the contour color that I use, and then this bronzer color, Bella, the main difference between them, obviously there's a slight shade difference, but Bella is much warmer, so your bronzer shade is much warmer, which, you know, most of us, as we get sun or bronze in the sun, it does have a warmer tone to it. So you can see there, like, it stamps on, it's definitely got pigment to it, and you just have to blend it out. And just think, like, you know, a lot of us put highlight on the high points of our face, but really we should be bronzing on the high points of our face. I have a baby awake, some on there, and I'm just gonna go in, and I like to bronze when I'm gonna bronze, and I want to be bronzy, you know, it's summer. I do bronze across the bridge of my nose, and then I think I mentioned too that I go back and along my jawline. I'm not contouring, even though that's like what it seems like, because I created that 3 shape along the hairline and then across the bridge of the nose and then along the jawline. But that's actually like, contour would be underneath. Contour would be under the high point or the shadow, and then the bronzer would sit actually on top or the high point, because that's where the sun would naturally hit. And then I did mention, see that is, so it's definitely got pigment. And you just have to diffuse it with the brush. Like, you find with this makeup, you become kind of a master blender, or like a kind of a very good at like blending things out and just creating like a, you know, a nice diffused makeup look. And then kind of just lightly brush across here. So you can still see the base shining through. It's just got like a kiss of bronze all over it. And then the very last thing I'm going to do with my Seint products in particular today are, I'm going to use a nice bright summery blush. One of these two, I think Frenchie, which I think is this one. I'm going to use that today, and I'm going to use this side of that brush I just used with the bronzer, but you could use this brush. You could use a denser stippling brush. And you're just gonna pick up, like, I mean, when I'm tapping, like tap, 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 it's so light. And even this is gonna give, yeah, quite a bit of pigment. And I do blush differently. Like, sometimes I do it right here on the apples of the cheeks, and then I'll just show you the difference on the other side. I'm gonna bring it up. And if I wanna lift the face a little bit more, then I'll just do it on this side. So you can see it's a little bit different, but I'm actually gonna do the apples of the cheeks and all the way up today and across the bridge of the nose, because I think that is like the most natural look. Okay, so I'm going to do the rest of my face and check on my baby, and I'll be right back. Okay, so the baby's awake, so we're gonna finish this up, but I went ahead and just finished off my makeup. It wasn't too much else. I already have lashes on. These lashes are from Amazon, and they're the kind that you wear for like multiple days at a time. So I really like doing that because I just feel like more like ready to go when I wake up, as opposed to mascara. And I can link the lashes down below if anyone is interested, but I have tried Trinity lashes all the time. These ones are pretty good. They're okay. They're not my favorite, but they're pretty good. They look nice. And then my brows, I use a few different products, but nothing that is from Seint. And then I did just slightly, I put the color Frenchie on my cheeks, and then I did also just like use my finger to put just a touch of it on my eyelid. You can't really see that well, but it's just got like the slightest little pinky tone to it. And then I went ahead and used the same color Frenchie on my lips, and then I topped it off with just some Laniege because I don't really love like too much of a dramatic lip. I just like it to look like nice and neutral, and I almost always just have Laniege on my lips because I have really dry skin and lips and everything else. So this is it. I did pop some highlight in my inner corner, and this is a Seint highlight, but it's not remarkable in my opinion, and don't come for me if you like are a consultant or whatever and you like Ride or Die by Seint, like non-base products, right? But like the shadows, the eyeshadows, they're pretty. I tend to use them quite a lot just because they're you can kind of like build your own little palette. So this is like what I have going on right now. They're pretty. The glitter shades especially are very pretty. They're pigmented, they're very smooth, but they're unremarkable. Other than that, they're not unlike a nice like high-end eyeshadow with some that come to mind, like a Natasha Denona or even like a Anastasia palette. They're not dissimilar to that. You know, eyeshadow is kind of eyeshadow, but they do come in both cream and powder shadows, so it's very complementary to your base if that's what you like, and you can use both of them together. So, but this video is about the skin products in particular. So, and then the highlight that I use, which is technically a skin product, but it is not anything that is remarkable. Seint does have both cream and powder highlight products. The cream highlights are, I just don't find them to be necessary just because this is a very glowy product. Like my cheek is already catching light and I don't have a highlight on my cheek. The only place I put highlight today was here on the Cupid's bow and then inner corners, and I didn't put highlight anywhere else. So, and honestly, I could like take or leave that. So the highlights, like the eyeshadows, are unremarkable, very similar to other, not even high-end highlights. Like the drugstore has some pretty fantastic highlights and eyeshadows as well. Now that I say that, Wet n Wild has great eyeshadows, very pigmented, very smooth, etc. And same can be said for highlights. So that's it. I'll get like real close here so you can see I don't have perfect skin. I definitely have dynamic fine lines. I have hyperpigmentation, which you can still see shines through. I could have gone a little bit heavier with the base product application and covered that up, but to be perfectly honest, the reason I love Seint is because when I'm finished, my skin still looks like skin. It just looks like very healthy and glowing skin, and it blends just very seamlessly, and I don't have to go in and like set everything. Although with that said, I do almost always use a stay put setting spray after, and I know Seint makes one of those as well, but I have not tried it. So my daily use of these products, which I love and I would recommend to anybody, but especially people in my same skin type category, which is on the drier side, and like, you know, trying to like age gracefully. Like I don't have a different skin type than that, so obviously I can't, you know, I can't speak to like how this engages with, you know, oily skin or even normal skin. But for my skin type, dry and like aging and just generally like parched most of the time, I hardcore recommend the Seint base products, and I use them every single time I put on makeup. They're very easy, very quick. They blend flawlessly. You don't have to be an expert at, you know, blending or base application products in order to get a very flawless skin-like finish. So that's that. The baby is squirming. My bra straps are showing. I think that's really tacky, sorry. But the baby's squirming, so I'm gonna go and I don't know if you can see the clock. It's 5:30 in the afternoon, so we're gonna like a very late start to the day, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna go start dinner and I'll see you later.